Hi there, it's Maggie from Personal Euphoria, and in today's video I'm going to go over some exercises and stretches that you can do for plantar fasciitis, because I get asked about this all the time. So I have videos on YouTube that explain these exercises, so if this gets lost in your feed somewhere, you can go to YouTube. But here are some of the basic things to do for plantar fasciitis. First of all, you can always take like a regular small water bottle and fill it part way with water and then freeze it, and then roll your foot back and forth on that if that feels okay. Also, very often for most people with plantar fasciitis, it's inflammation of the fascia in the bottom of your foot. So it's very common for those first few steps when you get out of bed in the morning to be like really tender. And as you work it out, it feels, as you walk out a little bit more, it feels better often, not always, because that's usually how fascia responds. As we hydrate and as we move it, it limbers up, but it's really stiff after sleeping. So if you have that common problem of tenderness in your feet when you first get out of bed, before you get out of bed in the morning, gently point and flex the feet, do little ankle circles, move your feet a little bit so that their initial response is not your entire body weight on your feet. And then I would recommend either a foam golf ball, which is going to be even gentler, or a blue dot squash ball. So I guess I don't really know the difference between the dots. I've always used a blue dot and it seems perfect for me. I would never use a hard golf ball because for most people that's going to create pain, and we don't want to generally heal pain with pain. Not that it might not work, but why would you pick that methodology if you could heal pain without more pain? So if it's really tender, you would use the foam golf ball. If this feels good, to me, the blue dot squash ball is perfect. And you can use that under your foot to give yourself a foot massage. And can you see my feet in here? It's a little hard for me to tell. So if you're watching, and you can give a thumbs up if you see my feet, otherwise I'll step back even more. But basically, you can roll back and forth, or you could gently shift your weight from side to side, but you're trying to massage that fascia a little bit. So you could put as much or as little body weight into it as you want. I got a thumbs up. Okay, so you can see my feet. Thank you. You can put as much or as little pressure as you want. You can go side to side. You can make circles. You'll want to play what feels good. And if you find that like standing up is too much pressure, you can do this sitting in a chair, and then you can control the amount of pressure even better. But taking time to play with that is key. I don't have plantar fasciitis, and I keep one of these in my purse, at my desk, in my living room, because it feels so good. Even without plantar fasciitis, this is worth doing. Then there's 3 exercises or stretches that are usually really worthwhile. One is a basic calf stretch that you're probably familiar with. So you can put your hands on the wall, the front leg is bent, and you reach your back leg straight and press the heel down. So you want to be in a straight line, heel, hips, head. So you're not hinged back like this, you're not bowed forward. Nice straight line, heel, hips, head. And then actively think of pressing down through that heel. You want to feel a stretch in your calf. So notice, do you feel that? And what can you change? Maybe you have to step back a little bit further to do that, because maybe you're very flexible, right? Even though you have that tightness in the plantar fasciitis. So stretching the calf with a straight leg is important, but the one people often miss is stretching your other calf muscle, which can only be stretched with a bent leg. So one way to do that, the front leg basically stays where it is. The back leg, you'll have to play with how far forward it comes. But usually halfway forward from where it was, or toes up to your heels, somewhere in between, up to your front heel, somewhere between that. And then you bend both knees. And you should feel this stretch lower in the Achilles tendon, not as high up in the calf, but in the lower part of the calf into the actual Achilles tendon. But it should be a manageable stretch. The same thought, once you find that stretch, you press down through that heel and you play with how far you can bend the knees. Now, if someone has knee pain and knee issues, this can be a lot of pressure on the knees. Sometimes bringing that front leg up, just taking pressure off that knee will be enough to alleviate that. Or you can always sit down and use a belt. Make sure that belt is on the foot good so it's not gonna fly off at you, but on the ball of your foot, you can flex the foot with a straight leg and then flex the foot with a bent leg. Now in my body, I don't feel this as good and as intensely, but in a positive way as I do on the wall. So I feel like for most people, if you can do the wall variation, it's the better option. But if your knees are not happy with that, it can be done here. And then finally, you'll want to come to a bottom step and have your hands totally to support you. This isn't about balance. The ball of your foot is on the step, but the rest of the foot hangs off. And you come up high onto the toes, and then you take your time to lower. So you count 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and you drop the heels as low as you can by 5. Then come back up and go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, back up, and 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, back up. So the reason you do that, again, I talked about how you can have that pain even if you're very flexible here. So the back up is going to strengthen those muscles. The down is going to lengthen them, but if you take your time through that motion, you're going to make them long and strong, right? We don't want to just be flexible without having strength at our long end. So that controlled descent really matters. So that's some of the best things you can do for plantar fasciitis. Also, as much as I know it is super painful, I don't know anyone that hasn't overcome it. Now, we all have our issues. So if you have plantar fasciitis, you might go 2 years without a problem, then it starts to creep up again. It might be something you deal with lifelong, but the sooner you start doing the right stretches and rolling it out and catch it, the sooner you kind of keep it at bay for hopefully another 2, maybe 3, maybe 5 years. But it would be very uncommon to get plantar fasciitis, do everything, and have no change, right? So the positive thing is, you can change and make improvement from plantar fasciitis. If I didn't answer one of your questions in this, or if you have another question, feel free to write it in the comments and I'll do my best to answer it or make a second video to give you even more information. But otherwise, keep moving and feel good.